There is a person who seems to have everything it takes: the intelligence, the talent, the potential everyone keeps telling them they have. And yet, year after year, the success never quite arrives. They are always about to begin, always keeping their options open, always waiting for the right moment, the right path, the certainty that will finally let them commit. And Carl Jung would have looked at this person and named the invisible thing that was quietly ruining their life. Not a lack of ability, not bad luck, something they were doing to themselves every single day without ever seeing it. Jung called it the provisional life, and he considered it one of the most seductive traps a human being can fall into, because it feels, from the inside, like keeping your future safe, when in truth, it is the exact mechanism that guarantees the future never comes. Before we go further, understand what this is really about. This is not a lecture about laziness or discipline. The people Jung watched fall into this trap were often the most gifted, the most driven, the most full of promise. What ruined them was not that they did too little. It was something far subtler, hidden inside the very way they related to their own potential. Over the next several minutes, we're going to trace exactly what the provisional life is, why the most talented people are the most vulnerable to it, and the single, almost unbearable act Jung believed a person has to perform if they want their success to finally become real. Stay until the end, because that final act is the one thing that separates the people who arrive from the people who spend their whole lives about to. Let's begin with what the provisional life actually is. Jung observed a certain kind of person who lives as though their real life has not yet started. Everything they are doing now is temporary, a placeholder. The current job is just for now, until the real thing comes along. The current city, the current relationship, the current version of themselves, all provisional, all a rehearsal for a life that is always just ahead, never here. They keep every door open. They refuse to fully commit to any single path because committing to one means closing all the others. And closing doors feels to this person like a small death. So they wait. They keep their potential intact, unspent, pristine. And this is the seduction, because unspent potential feels infinite. As long as a person has not chosen, they could still become anything. The unwritten novel is a masterpiece. The unstarted business is a triumph. The unlived life is perfect because it has never been tested against reality. And Jung understood the terrible arithmetic hidden in this. The moment a person actually commits, writes the real book, starts the real company, becomes the real specific someone, they trade infinite possibility for one finite reality. And that reality will always be smaller, messier, and more flawed than the shining potential they were protecting. So they protect the potential instead. And they call it keeping their options open. Jung called it refusing to be born. If this is landing somewhere uncomfortable, if you have felt yourself waiting for years for your real life to begin, while quietly keeping every door open, comment the word commit below. Jung believed that simply naming the provisional life begins to break its spell, because the second thing Jung understood is why the most gifted people are the most trapped. It seems backwards. You would think talent makes success easier, but Jung saw the opposite danger. The more potential a person has, the more they have to lose by committing. The average person, with modest gifts, chooses a path early because they have to. There is no glittering alternative tempting them to wait. But the gifted person is haunted by their own possibility. They could be a brilliant this or an extraordinary that, or a remarkable something else entirely. Every path they might take glows with promise, and so, paralyzed by the wealth of their own potential, they choose none of them. They stand at the center of 100 possible lives, unable to step into one, because stepping into one means grieving the 99 they will never live. Jung connected this to an archetype he studied deeply, the puer aeternus, the eternal youth. The person who stays perpetually young in spirit, full of promise, charming, gifted, and fundamentally uncommitted. The puer is always on the verge of something great, always about to launch, forever gifted and forever unrealized. And the tragedy Jung saw in these people was that their gift became their prison. Their potential, which should have been the raw material of a great life, became instead the thing they worshipped in place of living. They fell in love with who they might be, and used that love as a reason never to become anyone at all. But Jung did not leave it as a diagnosis, because he was interested in the way out. And the way out is harder than anything the provisional life demands. Jung understood that the escape from the provisional life requires a specific act, and it is one the puer resists with everything they have. Sacrifice. Not sacrifice in the sense of suffering, but in the original sense, to make sacred by giving something up. To become one real thing, a person has to sacrifice all the other things they could have been. They have to let the 99 possible lives die, so that one actual life can be born. And Jung was clear that this feels like a loss, because it is a loss. The person really is giving up the infinite for the finite. They really are trading the perfect imagined self for a limited, specific, flawed real self. There is no version of this that does not hurt, and that is exactly why so few people do it. But here is what Jung understood that the provisional person cannot yet see. The finite, committed, limited life is the only kind that can actually grow. A seed that refuses to be planted, that insists on keeping its options open, remains a seed forever, perfect, intact, and barren. It is only when the seed accepts the specific patch of soil, the one location, the closing of every other possibility, that it can finally become the tree. Commitment is not the death of potential. It is the only thing that ever converts potential into something real. The person who commits does not lose their possibilities. They cash them in. They exchange the fantasy of everything for the reality of something. And a real something, however limited, is worth infinitely more than a perfect nothing. Which brings us to the deepest part of what Jung saw. He understood that the provisional life is, underneath everything, a refusal of limitation. And the refusal of limitation is a refusal of life itself. Because to be alive, to be a specific human being, is to be limited. It is to be this person in this time on this path, with these particular gifts and not others. The person who cannot accept limitation cannot accept being a person at all. They want to remain pure possibility, godlike, unbounded, and so they hover above their own life, never touching down, waiting for a perfect moment that by definition can never come, because the perfect moment would require no sacrifice. And there is no such moment. Every real beginning costs something. Every real life is purchased with the death of the lives you didn't choose. And Jung believed that the moment a person finally accepts this, the moment they stop protecting their potential and start spending it, is the moment their real life begins. Not the imagined one, the real one. Smaller than the fantasy, yes. Flawed, certainly. But alive, growing. Capable of becoming something the perfect imagined life never could. Because the imagined life was never real enough to grow at all. And now, I need to speak to you directly. If you have spent years waiting for your real life to begin, if you have kept every door open, told yourself the current version of your life is just temporary, protected your potential like something too precious to risk, then hear what Jung would have told you. The success you are waiting for is not being delayed by circumstance. It is being prevented by the very thing you think is keeping you safe. Your refusal to choose, your unwillingness to close a single door. Your love affair with who you might become, standing in the way of who you could actually be. The perfect life you are protecting will never arrive, because a perfect life is one that has never been lived. Choose one path. Grieve the others honestly because they were real possibilities and letting them go will hurt. And then plant yourself, fully, in the one soil you chose. Your success was never waiting for the right moment. It was waiting for you to finally begin. If this reached something real in you, don't let it fade when the screen goes dark. The next video, I want to show you what Jung discovered about what happens after a person finally commits. The strange resistance that rises up the moment you stop keeping your options open, and how to survive the part of you that will try to pull you back into the safety of the provisional life. I'll see you there.